Whenever Aaron Rodgers speaks, people listen. Everything he says or does is closely analyzed, broken down, and often heavily criticized. Whether it's a football take, a political stance, or him talking about his ayahuasca trip, people are going to tune in. But he knows this, and that means he is always well-spoken because he knows everything he says is going to get broken down, so it's well thought out beforehand, in his mind at least. And so when he says something out of character, it stands out to all of us, like how he rarely puts people over and sends out public expectations, and it's not because he's a bad teammate by any means, but he knows how much weight his voice carries, and he usually just lets his or their play on the field do the talking, and he doesn't want people or the media to set too many unattainable expectations for them. So when he came out and outwardly spoke so highly of their 4th round draft pick Romeo Doubs, I was taken back, and so were a lot of people. Rodgers talked about how he makes a wow play every practice, and he says guys have done that before, but they're all top 10 in Packers receiving history. He talks about his humility, and he can't believe how many teams passed up on him. And respected veteran Randall Cobb praised his ability to win 50-50 balls. So, who is this guy? Well, let's take some time to really break down who Romeo Doubs is as we look at some tape. We'll cover what his role might be on this Packers team this year and how his game will translate to the NFL level. And then we can start to understand what Rodgers likes in receivers, and with that, begin to understand why he's so high on Romeo, and also why he may have been so overlooked going into the draft. There's obviously a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. So covering our basics first, Romeo Doubs, for those that don't know, was a receiver out of Nevada who had a lot of production in college. He had 2,100 yards and 20 touchdowns in his last 2 collegiate seasons, making him one of the most accomplished receivers in Nevada's history. Even the first time he touched a ball in college as a true freshman, he took an 80-yard punt return for a touchdown, which is just a sign of the times as he went on to be a crucial part of Nevada's special team success, and that's what most scouts thought he was going to be drafted for. And yes, he'll probably do that for the Packers, but seeing how things are going, he will also probably play a much bigger role, but more on that later. But he was also one of the best deep threat receivers in all of college football. In 2020, he led all FBS players in deep receiving yards against single coverage, and between 2020 and 2021, he ranked first among FBS receivers in deep receiving touchdowns with 15, including 5 of at least 50 yards during his junior season alone, which made his 4.47 40 time a little surprising as he looks a lot faster on the field. But he did play in the Mountain West, and this good, not blazing 40 time paired with the weaker conference he played in was probably a large reason scouts discredited these insane numbers and led him to being overlooked as 18 receivers were drafted above him. But now we're seeing Doubs in training camp with his 4.47 line up against elite speed, and rising star corner Eric Stokes with his 4.25 40 beating him on 9 routes. So there's obviously a lot more to it. So we need to look at some plays so we can get the full picture. Let's see what makes him so special and why we think Rodgers likes him so much. And the first thing Rodgers needs in his receivers is he needs to be able to trust you. He has the uncanny ability to make every single throw on the field, and so he needs to be able to trust you to come down with these throws. If he's going to take the risk to make these type of throws, he needs you to be over the middle, know you're going to take the hit, concentrate through it, see through the hands, and like Carson Strong does here, put it in a keyhole. Romeo Doubs passes this in flying colors. If Rodgers is going to take the risk to make these throws, you need to be that reliable target for him. And this plays into what Randall Cobb said, because Rodgers needs to be able to trust you to come down with these 50-50 balls. And in college, it was so natural for Romeo to do this. And this was a big reason he had 20 touchdowns in his last 2 seasons. So consistently in the red zone, Carson Strong was just able to throw it up. And if Rodgers is going to use a whole play around the goal line to trust you to come down with it, you need to be really good at it. And even against my alma mater, I was at this game at SDSU. Tough to watch, but this is something Doubs excels at. But he doesn't just do it around the goal line. He does it around the middle of the field too. He always finds a way to get really good positioning in comparison to the DB to make a play on the ball. So Rodgers not only has the ability to put it right in the exact spot, but if he can just throw it up in general, knowing that the receiver is going to adjust to it and win the rep, this makes you an even more dependable target. And this is why he always trusted guys like Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson in his career. And this rep right here is awesome because it really has everything. We have Doubs on the outside. He's going to win on this rep in the post with the initial, and this is going to be another walk-in touchdown. But the pressure gets there. Carson Strong has to break out to his right, so Doubs, being quarterback friendly, breaks off to the right, giving him a target down the field, and he's won this rep for the second time in this route. So if Carson Strong can just put it over the top, this is going to be another easy touchdown, but that's not what happens. It's harshly underthrown. But what does he do? He gets great positioning, high points the ball, makes a play on it, and comes down with the touchdown anyways. So not only does he win the initial rep, he becomes quarterback friendly, and quarterback friendly to the nth degree when it's underthrown and he can come back and make a play on the ball. And watching him in college break all of these records, we saw him streaking down the field for long touchdown after long touchdown, putting up insane numbers. But this doesn't tell the whole story. It's how he sets it up and how he gets open, because he doesn't run a 4.2. So sure, he can beat some lesser corners in the Mountain West with straight speed, but let's see how he actually gets open. And I think a great play to show how he really does this is actually not a deep ball at all. And it's going to be this play right here against Wyoming, where he's going to get a quick screen and he's going to make his way up the field. And he doesn't look super twitchy. He doesn't look overly fast. It doesn't look like he runs a 4.2. So why am I showing you guys this play? Well, it's because of what he does right here. When the safety comes up to make the tackle on this, he doesn't juke him out of his socks. He doesn't do some crazy flashy move, but he sticks his foot in the ground, doesn't lose any speed, and completely throws off the safety of his tackle angle and actually has him run into his guy. And why that's important as we look at Doubs at the top of our screen is because the corner over top of him might run this same exact 40 time as him, or he might even be faster like we saw against a guy like Eric Stokes. But as he wakes his way up the field, he's going to get right on the DB's toes in just one move. It's so simple, but so effective. He uses his leverage out to the outside, get the cornerback's hips turned, and beats him. And now, just a few steps later, he has 5 yards on him. And this is how he was able to get so open and break all these records. It's not because he has the blazing speed, and it's not because he's overly flashy or super twitchy, but he understands how to win and win quickly, and this is what he was able to do in college, and we're already seeing him be able to do it in the NFL. And he is kind of still a work in progress. He doesn't have it all figured out, and he's not an elite route runner, but he has high potential to be one. So here he is on the outside. What he's going to do is he's going to get right on the DB's toes, and he's going to break it in for the slant. It's a pretty easy touchdown, and the route running here isn't an elite by any means, but it's plays like these that make me think he has so much potential to become an elite route runner. Or a play like this against Cal, we look to the bottom of our screen this time. We see Doubs using his image as a deep ball threat to push his way up the field. Now, does the cornerback play this perfectly? No. But Carson Strong, far left hash, making a throw to the far right sideline. He's able to snap this off, and this is not an easy throw or an easy route to run. To go full speed and completely snap it off, and when he snaps it off, look at where the DB is. This is going to be easy throw for Rodgers, and if DBs have to respect his deep threat playability, which they're going to have to, it's going to open plays up like this for Rodgers, and I think he's going to quickly become one of his favorite targets. And the very last thing I want to share with you guys is, again, goes into Rodgers trusting them. Rodgers loves smart receivers. He doesn't love these robotic routes, so when you get around the goal line, are you able to adjust the route? So one, can you win quickly, plant the outside foot, get vertical, but instead of coming across the field, he goes back to the back of the end zone. And why does he do this? Because in that last camera angle, we didn't see where he was in relation to the safety. We have Doubs right here at the bottom of your screen. So not only is Rodgers going to love his ability to win and win quickly, but not running this robot slant route because the safety starts to creep over. And Doubs sees this. He's able to flatten it out. And even though this is going to make it a harder throw for Rodgers and Carson Strong were able to make this. But this is going to keep the distance away from the safety getting over here. Not running the robotic routes, but understanding the coverage. And at the end of the day, just having high football IQ and being very quarterback friendly. So we're going to see him start to take it up the field, completely taking the safety out of the play. Whereas if you were to cut across the middle of the field, he's either going to be a hospital or it's going to be an interception. And the very last play we're going to look at, but also plays into him being a smart receiver, might not look like much off the bat, but you're going to start to understand why I'm showing you this clip as we have Doubs right here. And just watch the first second of this route. It doesn't look like he has any explosion coming off the ball. It looks like he's going very slow, and then he starts to make his way across the field. But why he does this is way more important to understand. If he truly does understand coverage, there's a couple clear man coverage tells right here. The corner's looking right directly at him. There's one high safety. So unless he bails last second, this is going to be man coverage, meaning this guy is going to be on Doubs. So it makes sense to get right across the field as soon as you can to create as much separation as quickly as possible. But Doubs, understanding that this linebacker would have the running back now, a few things need to happen. He needs to allow this receiver to push up the field, and that's going to do a few things. Not only is it going to clear out his route to get this nickel corner off of him, but this safety cheating down, it's going to make him take this vertical and leave Doubs all alone. And going back to this linebacker, if Doubs just shoots right back across, the linebacker might actually be able to help out on this play. But what he's going to do is he's going to wait long enough for it to develop and then go behind the linebacker, making sure the linebacker commits to the running back. And the last thing coming off the ball slowly does is when he starts to make his way up the field, this DB is going to be retreating and backpedaling. He's not going to stay flat-footed on a guy like Doubs, which creates even more separation between the two. And so after all this clears out, after the linebacker comes out, Doubs is going to be able to come with a much more favorable matchup with a DB that's incredibly out of position. And so now when we start to see this play unfold, it looks like Doubs is just coming off the field slowly, but understanding all these man coverage tells and being available, now he's able to be wide open and on a 3rd and 10, just be able to take this under route and be able to do something with it after breaking a tackle, picking up the first down. Rodgers is going to love having a smart receiver that understands the game of football. So now that we know that Rodgers loves reliable, smart, good hand, really good with back shoulders, has good releases, and can do something to ball after you catch it, he loves these traits in receivers. And Doubs has really deceptive athleticism. He doesn't look like he runs all that fast. He doesn't look super twitchy. He doesn't look overly built or tall, but he runs by people with ease. He'll make you miss with very little movement. He has high potential in his route running. He understands alignments and can win quickly, and he can break tackles with his deceptive 6'2" frame. And all of this shows in his punt and kick return ability. So what he looks like on film, our eyes might lie to us, but what he's actually able to do on the field doesn't lie. Aaron Rodgers recognizes that, and I believe he's showing all of these traits at training camp right now, and this is why Rodgers has taken such a liking to him. And with Rodgers' talent, throwing the ball is only going to make Romeo look even better. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure to like this video if you like videos like these. Make sure to comment down below what you think about Romeo Doubs and how many receiving yards he'll end up with this year. And make sure to subscribe if you enjoy daily sports content. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.